Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Bedford Live. It is March 11th, 2024, and we're back at you again for another week of discussion and chat. We hope you'll invite your friends right now and send an invite to get some of these folks in here so we can have a good topic discussion tonight. We've got two or three things we're going to talk about.
But we definitely want your discussion, your questions, and your topics too. So feel free to post those on the chat there. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, but first of all, let's stop and hear from our sponsor, Dennis Young Insurance. We'll be right back.
What you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Dennis Young Insurance here in Shelbyville. For all your insurance needs, go check out Dennis. Bo, we've got a few things to take care of, but I know this past weekend, one thing that I was really dreading, and I know why I was dreading it now, that the spring forward deal just about took me to my knees.
Yes.
Lost that hour of sleep.
Yeah, it's always a killer. It seems every year it takes me down a little lower. It hurts. I'm still recovering from it, as many of you probably are. But to experience a little bit of joy, you have to have some pain, but we do get the longer days. So that's what I look at, glass half full. Look, we've been in the darkness too long. It is time for us to have some light. And I think we're all going to be in better moods. I think the traffic issues, the road rage is going to go down because, we need that. We need that.
I don't think
it probably won't, but hey, wishful thinking, it'll probably go up. But
all right, but let's talk about this. I know for the last 2 years, there's been some talk about making daylight saving time permanent.
Yes.
And that way we don't have to be messing with our clocks. So I got to looking that up. In 2022, the U.S. Senate passed this sunshine protection law that was sponsored by Marco Rubio and Tim Scott. They brought it out, and it passed the Senate, was tossed to the House. The House is all in agreement. It's unanimous. It's bipartisan, and they want to pass it, but it's been sitting there. So this was brought out in 2022, passed to the House of Representatives in 2023. Everybody wants to do it, but nothing's happened yet. So here's my question to everybody watching tonight. Would you like to see daylight saving time made permanent nationwide? Now, the law that they're putting out basically says that each state can make their own decision, but that's still going to be total confusion.
Oh, that means Tennessee's this time, Kentucky's this time, Alabama's this time. That's a whole new learning curve there. Look, to me, I think we discussed it earlier. It really doesn't make that big of a difference, in my life. But what I do is I look forward to, there's something there about looking forward to a little change, a little shake up of things, especially, the time, the more time of light you have, because let's just be real, we're not gaining any more sunlight or anything. It's not like but we are gaining work hours in the sunlight. But you get up, it's a little later.
Brandy, but Harris, 8 years living in Hawaii, we never changed time and we survived just fine.
Oh, that's great to know. We'll say so. We'll put her on the let's just leave it alone.
We know we'll survive.
Yeah, I think we will survive, and I think that it was more useful maybe in time past. You always hear about conserving electricity. The farmers. There's different reasons that they've came up with, but I think we've gotten to the point now where we're just kind of used to it. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm indifferent, but
well, it started back in the early 1900s in World War I think it was 1913. They decided to do it because they wanted to save electricity during those summer months.
And those were times when the electricity, the way
they didn't have to use as much lighting at night.
That's right. But they didn't have the resources to produce it as strongly as we do now. So it was very, volatile, I would say. But I did think that that this passed, it seemed like the public sentiment, everybody was on board, like it was a done deal. So they have not voted on this issue yet, which that's kind of surprised to me because I thought that they did. But
it don't surprise me.
Well,
that's Washington D.C.
I surprise myself when I say that. So, but no, I'm not. I thought that it was. It seems like that most people are really don't care. But I'm sure there are some anti, that are.
I
hope
hope they'd hurry up and do it and get it to the president before he gets his name.
Well,
if he forgets his name and they won't be able to sign the bill,
oh man, that's right. He might sign it somebody else, and then we'll be done. It'll be null and void, and we'll be back over this issue again, just like the hot dog is a sandwich, discussion. Maybe they'll take care of that one too.
All right. Well, anxious to hear what everybody thinks about it. Please tell us. Are you for it, Brandy? She's the only one that's come out and said yes. It doesn't matter to me, but if we just do it, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's let me know so I'll know to rest up enough, and I'll be, then I won't have to worry about the change ever again. But will that affect technology anyway? You think that the time change will throw off some of these
no.
Some of these things? I guess they could just get in, about like 9/11. That was just going to destroy everything.
No,
so this is just
Y2K you're talking about.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Y2K.
Yeah, Y2K.
Y2K.
All the computers were going to shut down, and all the electronics were going to shut down when we flipped over.
Yes.
Nothing happened.
It just went. It just went over. I remember looking at a digital clock at that time during that period, and it just clicked over to 12 a.m. and everything kept on rolling. But man,
okay, let's talk about some local stuff that's going on. Of course, we've already talked about this last week on Ahead of the Curve Live, where the city has moved forward with the lawsuit against the county. And in their statement, I'm not sure who the statement came from. If it was, I don't know, it wasn't signed. I assume it was from the council and the mayor. It just basically said we're moving forward with the lawsuit, but let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm hoping that there'll be some talking take place now.
Yeah, well, maybe there will be some talking, because the way I understand is from the get-go that was all that the city was wanting, was just to talk, and they were getting no response. I guess they were wanting official comments. And another thing that's very bothersome is that the mayor, the Bedford County Mayor, Chad Graham, was not including, it doesn't seem, the commission in any of these discussions, or even letting them know that, hey, the mayor of Shelbyville reached out, what do y'all want to do? It was almost as if it was an executive decision, which, the law may allow. I don't know. But I think that the transparency issue, it causes concern there with the commission not being at least informed until the lawsuit was brought forward. So I would say that,
Well, now I do know there was a letter that was sent back. The city sent a letter, I guess a formal request, and the county responded to it like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And said, we're not going to do this.
It's either been ill. I think their response has either been ill-timed or non-existent.
Well, at this point, the city has taken that action. And unfortunately, and this is the way I see it as just a citizen of Bedford County and also having property in the city, I feel like I'm suing myself.
Yeah.
And I'm paying 2 lawyers.
You are.
And, so I don't know how this plays out, Bo.
You are.
But
and when they have these confidential meetings, these lawyers are getting paid. It's a money thing. It seems like that a simple response up front, a simple no, or could have really rectified a lot of things. But it's just shame for all the taxpayers that this is having to happen. We don't know where it'll end up. I mean, it's currently, it's just, I guess they're going to just keep responding back and forth until, the end, because I mean, I guess that's the games they want to play, and that's how they like to play with your tax paying money. Even the ones that are voted in, even if they want to or not, sometimes this is out of their hands. And, but right now they're going to have to deal with it. And this is our money. Let it be known that this is our tax paying money that is getting thrown around in these very thought up and well articulated responses. These are just another part of the game until maybe we can get some real resolution and stop playing games and quit having word games. I mean, that's just my personal opinion as a citizen. And I feel a lot of citizens feel the exact same way.
Well, I'm anxious to see what everybody thinks. If you're sitting there, and if you're in the county, or if you're in the city, or if you have property in both, how does this lawsuit make you feel? Do you think it should be halted immediately and they talk and work out a deal, or do you think the lawsuit should go on?
And I think
we're anxious to hear. We're anxious to hear
Yes.
from you guys. So
Yes.
just tell us what you're thinking. Within the context of all of this, education has been held hostage. Okay. Let's say, okay, well, we did talk about this a few days ago. Emily's pointing that out, but we went over some numbers in that. There's about $2 million a year that this tax would provide for the city to do whatever it is that they're going to do. Okay. And that would be, I guess, numerous things.
Right.
But it would also take the $2 million out of the debt services fund for schools. Okay. But it's not the day-to-day operations of the schools, like was put in that statement that the county put out, which it's not the day-to-day operations. No. It's the building. Okay.
It goes to the building.
And at the moment, I think there's about $43 million in our debt services fund, and it's earning interest every month and it's accumulating. Okay. Now we do have a lot of schools to build. How much is that $2 million a year going to affect it if the city were to take that money and win that? I really don't think that, just my thoughts on it, and I'm not an attorney. There's attorneys working and they both say they've got a case. Mm-hmm. But I think if it was done by referendum, the sales tax was done by referendum and the city gave it up in an agreement, I think that somebody's going to have to vote on it to unwind it, probably.
Yeah, that's going to be exactly what's going to happen. But like we've been talking about, here we are. But I think that what, is also a huge possibility is a negotiation. And I don't know if we're past that point, but it's not like these numbers are, set in stone. I think I think it's healthy to have a back and forth, a negotiation. You might not get all your demands. It's just like any negotiation, but why not? I think if the dialogue is cut off and then when you have to talk through legal counsel, there are ways to get resolved, but this is just
let's just look down the road. If the city were to get some portion of this or all of it, and it went to the city instead of the county, how many commissioners will vote for a tax increase, a property tax increase to make up the difference? How many do you think would do that? I don't know. I mean, do we absolutely have to have that to survive?
I don't think we do, but I think that it would be an interesting question to ask your commissioner because and to let them be known because look, I think this is going to be coming down the road, regardless, unless a resolution is set up, and then that decision will be in their lap. So,
well, if you have a county property tax increase and you own property in the city, you're paying it. You're going to be paying it one way or another. So the city taxpayer is the one that stands to lose the most here.
Yep. You're having to pay not only one, but both. And that's the price we pay for the games we play.
Okay. Let's talk about education in general. We pointed out in our show on, I guess it was Tuesday. I'm not sure what day it was. Now you can look back and see it for yourself, but Josh Blevins got out and dug some numbers. And I think the number is about 21 million. The way the state is funding the school, Bedford County schools got about 21 million more than what they had been getting from the previous years, which gets us up to where we need to be. We were spending about $9,000 per student, which is way below the state average. And now we're spending $11,000.
Yes.
That gets us back up to where we need to be. And also the teachers have been able to see their pay come up.
That's right. And teacher retention, and which they're big issues that we need. And it costs money. So we understand this. And
John Hart brings up this point, make it metro and problem solved. You only have one. I mean, we look at Nashville, their metro, and then you got Lynchburg down here, Moore County.
Has this ever been tried in the past, David? I had someone ask me.
No.
It's never been tried.
Not in Bedford County.
Yeah, we may have to discuss the pros and cons of that one day.
There are pros and cons, but to me, the way it's costing the city and the county to have duplication of services, you got public works from both sides. You've got sheriff, you got the law enforcement, you got fire protection. You got these different administrative offices. Duplication of services is costing the taxpayer more.
And
if there's a way to do Metro and it makes sense, I think you got to consider it.
Yeah, and these are like when there's a outside of a jurisdiction like emergency call, the city police will still respond to that. So they'll overlap in those too. So they're actually giving their services too. So it is kind of a double dip way. Actually, I heard a call on the scanner today. By the way, if you would like a free to listen to police scanner to police traffic in the area, go to shovelnow.com, download go to the scanner section.
You don't have to download it. All you got to do is click
it. You don't have to download. Just click it, push play, and you'll be informed of all the police traffic in Bedford County.
Yeah, you'll have Bedford County and city and your EMS services as well.
That's right.
Talking about the education and the funding that the state gave, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the governor has put a plan together along with some of our state legislatures about the voucher system, ramping it up. And what's in there is the school vouchers would be funded by $144 million set aside in the budget, and they would offer 20,000 students an $8,000 a year voucher. You have to apply for it, it's my understanding, and it would not alter your county's budget. You would continue to get the same thing. The money would come from a different source. But here's my question. I could argue both sides that it's a good thing because, of course, you have choice. And then I've got on the other side, how is it going to affect public schools? All right. So there's a debate that's going on here. How do you guys feel about this? Do you think vouchers would be a good thing or a bad thing? Give us your opinion. Bo, what do you have an opinion?
Well, I do. I like choice. I think choice is American, and having a school choice is a good thing as long as everybody's putting a piece of the pie. Does this cover private schools?
That's what it's for.
That's what I thought. This is all. So let's look at how it'll affect Bedford County here. It'll be Webb School. That'd be a private school. It would be the Cooper Christian School.
Victory.
And be Victory Baptist. That'd be 3 of them. So, the way that.
Well, you got some people in Bedford County that go MTCS.
That's right. Well, that's right. You're right. But I'm thinking predominantly of Bedford County.
Yeah, you got 3.
You've got 3 there. So, which that does affect. But I would say for the most part, that a lot that, it's not going to affect a lot of us here, but I think that if people that choice, like I said earlier, if you can have choice in there are pros and cons. I mean, will it water down some of these other areas? I've heard that argument also. I'm
not sure what they mean water down though.
I know it, but I think maybe they mean the educational standards. Maybe the requirements, but I hear the legislators saying this, well,
there's always, if you're against it, you can find out a reason to argue it. And if you're for it, you can find out a reason to argue it.
And I've seen both sides and nothing's really sold me all the way. I don't know.
Okay. Angela Stevens, how do you say you get to the scanner? Just go to our website at shelbyvillenow.com and then look at the menu across the top there. It says live scanner feed, and just click on that and then click the arrow and you can listen to it right there.
Yeah.
So
and it's a treat.
Brandy, we had a choice when we moved here. Daughter either went to school closest to us and rode a bus, or we were responsible for getting her to and from a different school. It's not a choice if it's limited to 20K. That's a lotto. Yeah. And the thought is there's not going to be 20,000 take advantage of it, I think.
Yeah, I have a feeling there'll be a line probably waiting.
Well, here's the thing about it. $8,000 is not going to pay for a private school.
No, it's not going to put much of a dent in a Webb school.
No private school is going to cost that. It's going to be a lot more than that.
I don't know if the relief is even, worth the, can we apply those dollars somewhere else? I think so. I think.
What do you mean?
What the ones they're allotting for these for these vouchers, the money to replace them, could they not move it into another area? I mean, because there's tax money involved.
I'm sure if it's not spent, it just go back into the education budget or to where it came from to begin with.
And maybe this is a more responsible way to spend it. I don't know.
Well, they're just offering us as a choice, and they're also coming out with a standard that by 25, 26, that the minimum starting pay for a teacher in the state of Tennessee will be $50,000 base.
Wow.
So
that would be a big improvement.
That would help, but it's tied together.
You know,
so
I think that's huge. And I think coming from a family whose mother was an educator, you know, I saw how important they were in lives. But just to make a side note here, I love the way we're focused on the education, but I think the police officers also need the same kind of compensation and the same kind of representation, because they're just as important, these teachers. But that's a whole other issue.
That's a city and county thing. They're not funded by the
I know,
state,
but state can do something. It can do some
you
things.
can get grants and stuff.
That's right. But back to the teachers, that is great. Teacher retention and just filling classrooms has been a problem in most counties our size.
And here's something. You mentioned the word county, something that Josh and I were talking about, and I don't think most people realize this. Bedford County does not fund its school system. The state of Tennessee funds the school system for the most part. It's about at 77%. I think our county roughly pays about 17% of the funding, and then the balance of it's some federal aid that comes, and it's the lunch program pretty much.
Yep.
And then some others for special needs.
That's
and
Michelle
special
Obama's
education. Deal. Yeah, that was her deal. But at the same time, when you're taking money from the federal government, there's strings attached to it.
Oh, yes.
And of course, since the state is funding education, the state Department of Education dictates what's mandatory.
That's right. The TCAP. I mean, that's Tennessee Comprehensive. I mean, that's why they have that. That's why the county commission's not as doesn't control it, because it doesn't have much interest in it. Correct. I mean, only having a small percentage. And that's why you have a local school board, which is an important body.
So I'm anxious to hear how do you guys feel about vouchers? Bo's mom, how do you feel?
Yeah, how do you feel, Mother? How do you feel about the voucher
As a
system?
former educator, I know that most teachers that I talk to are against this because they feel like it's going to take money out of the system, which it's not, but it does something to the system. I think it's like, well, they're not going to have the same standards as we are. I don't think we really know, because each private school has their own curriculum, and the parents get the input there. But at the end of the day, when a person is homeschooled or they go to a private school, they still have to take the same college acceptance tests that everybody does.
That's exactly
You got to
right.
get the ACT in, and that's what everybody's shooting for these days.
Yep.
Is that ACT score at the graduation time to step up to the next level. But a lot of kids now are taking the technical side, and I think when we get to school out here north of town, that it's going to be a big plus for Bedford County. I know Giles County has got one under works too.
Yes.
So there's a lot of these coming up, and tech is a big thing. And I think Tennessee is headed in the right direction with the tech schools, because you look around, plumbers, electricians, and all these type of trades, they have fallen down. These guys are covered up and can't get to them.
That's right. And they're the big paying jobs, electricians, and they are in demand. As construction goes up, commercial, residential, so do these jobs. And as these structures are built, so do maintenance. So it employs a lot of these technicians in the area. And, I love that the TCAT, that's a program, I think, implemented by Governor Lee. He's spent a good a portion of his of being the governor on education. One of him was to expand the TCAT program, and that is why we're getting several new ones across the state.
Okay, let Emily brings up, I guess I would not like the size of class may be larger, but no, that's not the case, because there would not be a reduction of teachers. There would be a reduction of students. Okay. And so you would have smaller classes if kids were leaving the system and going. So we would have more, but teacher to the class ratio would be lower.
But maybe are these private schools, say like Victory, they may not be adequately prepared to have the influx. So maybe she's talking about the influx of these private schools that are used to 4 or 5 people in the class, and all of a sudden there's 20.
I think they'd take all they could get.
Yeah, they would, but it would be a culture shock to these private schools. Maybe, I don't know. It would be interesting. I know that growth is good in one way or other, but are the teachers, I think it could bring, just like anything, growth, even in a school and in a classroom brings its own issues. And I always think the less student teacher ratio, the better, the healthier class you have.
All right, Bo, let's stop here and take a break and hear from our sponsor. Guys, what do you want to talk about tonight? Before we take a break, I'm going to throw this out there. Whatever you guys would like to discuss, that we're here to do it. And last call, when we come back from our sponsor, we're going to jump on what you guys want to talk about. And if you don't want to talk about anything, we're going to wrap things up. But we'll be right back right after this.
What you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
Okay, guys, welcome back in here. Thank you again, Dennis Young Insurance, for your sponsorship of this show. Like the commercial says, to go check them out for all your insurance needs.
Local insurance,
yeah.
Dennis Young.
Yeah. Bo, we have an event coming to town this week. The Tennessee Walking Horse Trainers Association is having their annual trainer show at the Celebration Grounds this week. That starts, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure, but the people are starting to come in. So there's going to be a few people in town for that. And this past week, the Fly had their production, and it went really well. And that play is winding down, from what I'm understanding. They have another one coming up again real soon.
Oh, so yeah. It's always
we've got a lot
door.
of talent in the Shelbyville Bedford County area for that.
Some new talent and some reoccurring talent that's been around for a long time. So it's a pleasure to see. I didn't get to make this one, but I hope to here in the future.
Okay. We did have an update this afternoon. There was a post put out by Shelbyville Police Department back on Friday. They put out a wanted or be on the lookout for a young man that had been he'd been caught in a sting and escaped.
Yes. He fled the scene of the surveillance that they had. I think they were moving in on him. He saw what was up and he took off. They put a bolo out of be on the lookout. It was on, I know, several of the Nashville news as well, but they did apprehend him today. And we just, want to tip our hats and a big congratulations for all those investigators, Shelbyville Police Department, and whoever, any partners that they had for getting this just mess of a gut person off of the streets. It's a sad, sick situation. I think it involved underage solicit of a minor. So, hey, if you're going to try this junk in Bedford County and Shelbyville, watch out, because our police
I think they caught him in Coffee County.
Did they really?
Coffee County Sheriff Department made the arrest.
Well, hey, anywhere.
So they were on the lookout. They were on the lookout and got him over there. Okay, Greg Davenport, what's going on at the old Studebaker building area? That is where the Uncle Nearest Brewery and barbecue place.
That's where it will be.
And they're going to be
had big plans for it, and they've had to really do a lot of work to get that up to the standards for what they're going to need. I would say as soon as a lot of that is done, you'll start seeing some more moving and going. And that reminds us, there's also some road closures tomorrow.
South Britton Street.
And I think there's another one, but if there is, just be on the lookout. We're going to be updating and giving you the exact location of those in the morning.
Yeah.
So
they'll be closed for a couple of days. What I'm understanding. Okay. Brandy, we love Shelbyville and Bedford County, but after a house fire, we will be moving to Tullahoma. We just purchased a house down there. We'll be sad to leave, but there's just more there as a town. Hey, we will keep our property here, so won't be selling. Can't build more houses, can't build more land, so we're not technically leaving. All right, well, be sure to continue to watch
down the road. That's right. Keep
Emily,
the people in Tullahoma informed about Shelbyville.
Okay, maybe y'all can give us a little lesson on the lingo used on the scanner so we know what is happening. There is a 10 code chart underneath the scanner player. If you scroll down, you can see the 10 code, so you'll know.
Yes.
Most of the communication, the identification is used in the city and in the county, and most everybody uses unit numbers and squad car numbers and that type of thing. You'll see 421 is like a control.
That's
the
the
dispatch.
city, and you've got the 388, which is the emergency, and then you've got Bedford County. Those are the three you're going to hear a lot.
And if you just watch the 10 codes, most of those 10 codes are universal. Sometimes it'll be very different from one system to the next, but that will get you kind of in the swing of things if you just watch those 10 codes.
Yeah, you'll start listening and hearing the same ones over and over. So before long you'll be speaking 10 code to all your friends if you learn them, right? 10-4?
Yeah.
10-8?
All right. Also, someone needs to seriously tell these guys and girls how to actually respond on radio. Half the time it's so garbled you can't hear them. Here's the thing I've noticed. They are so used to talking with each other. And when I listen to it, I said, I don't really know what they said, but they acknowledge it. And I'm going, well, they just know their voices so much.
They do.
And it is. I get it. It's hard to understand some of it. But then sometimes this is plain as day.
And the difference, though, between the city, which is on a digital, this is what's such a luxury here on Shelbyville now. Listen to the scanner. This is a digital frequency that the city of Shelbyville police are on. So it sounds more crisp, more clear. The county is still on the analog system. So you'll hear a little static in the background and maybe not quite as clear. But those are, you can notice a big difference. And
I'm going to try to improve that. I'm going up higher with an antenna that's going to pick up some of those fringe areas out in the county.
Yeah.
So that will be an improvement here real soon.
Yeah.
And Emily's wanting to know who's mowed so far this year.
Well, I hadn't mowed yet, and you know what?
That might be a hint right there.
Oh, was that a hint? That was a hint. That was a hint. Well, let's see here. What excuse can I? Well, I'll mow the yard.
The guy that mows my yard, it's 12 acres, so I don't have a tractor. I have the time.
You don't push mow that?
No, he sent me a text today and asked if we're ready to go, and I said 10-4.
10.
Since we're talking about,
you're talking in 10 code.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's time. It's that time. You're gonna smell the grass. You're gonna feel
those
warm.
Green onions.
The insects will start flying. Yeah, the green onions. You know, I mean, do you eat the green onions, by the way?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
not out of the yard.
Not out of the yard. No, I don't either. They're really oniony.
But guys, we've had fun chatting with you tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back again next week. And I think we're going to have some updates on this lawsuit issue. I know the commission meets, and I think the council meets on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we're going to have maybe some coming together and maybe some rationality used here.
You think so? Maybe so.
And Greg Davenport said, I'll mow. He says and laughs. That's right. Greg does cut grass. I forgot about that. Are you still doing that, Greg? I thought you shifted back to construction.
I'm sure.
Or are you going to do both?
Hey, Greg is the man of many talents. He can mow, he can paint, he can build you a deck. Just holler at him.
Yeah, I'm waiting for his response here. He's mowing. Okay.
All right. Well, mow on. I say mow on, Greg. But
I'm waiting for his response. I do both. Okay.
See, a man of many talents.
A man of many talents. Yeah, I thought you had done shifted back to the construction full time. So he's got it all.
He's a working man.
Hey, absolutely. Got to do all you can these days to make a living. That's for sure.
Exactly right.
Well, guys, we're going to slide out of here tonight. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to come back next week and hopefully have some good updates and some other good topics to talk about. Think about what you'd like to talk about, and don't forget, check daily. We're putting out our weather forecast every morning, and we're also updating our obituaries as they come in. And we try to keep you in touch with what's going on
breaking news
right now. We're not waiting the next week to put it out. We're putting it out today. Why have Shelbyville next week when you have Shelbyville now?
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.